Welcome back to Midlife by Design. I'm your host, Lisai, and I help midlife women learn how to use their human design so they can shed the shoulds and be who they came here to be. Today's episode is the second in a little series of celebrating Halloween and Samhain. And today we're diving into discomfort, the discomfort that can happen during the midlife transition. And no, I'm not even talking about perimenopause, hot flashes, and night sweats, and low libido, and all the things. I'm talking about a different kind of discomfort. I'm also going to talk about some of the transits, not only the midlife transits, but also transits that are happening right now as of the time of this recording, October 2025. And real quick, if you are a local, I hope you are joining me tonight in Waterbury for a workshop on the centers. Or if you are in Burlington area, then I hope that you will join me tomorrow, Thursday, at the Sanctuary for the first in a short series of introductory episodes to human design. Without further ado, let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to Midlife by Design. I am so excited for this 3-part series this week to celebrate Halloween and Samhain. And today's episode is all about the metaphor of the midlife portal and this thin veil of energy that we are in right now. So tell me if in the last 5 to 10 years, you have ever felt lost or unsure or feeling like you don't really know what your purpose is or what the hell you're meant to be doing here in this lifetime. Yes, me too. Actually, this weekend, interestingly, I was reading through an old journal, and some of the things I was writing about a decade ago or more, and so much of it was this inner turmoil around like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? Like it felt like I was on the precipice of this huge leap, and I just did not know what was next. I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know what to do with that feeling even of being on the edge of a cliff that felt so terrifying. So speaking of terrifying, 'tis the season for Halloween, and I do not like scary things, actually. I have never been a fan of horror movies. In fact, I have plenty of stories of how traumatized I have been by the horror movie franchises and all of the things when we were growing up, you know, Freddy Krueger and freaking Jason and all the other bleh. And Nightmare on Elm Street was one of those movies that definitely traumatized me. But I'm digressing here a little bit. The point being that there doesn't have to be so much horror around Halloween energy. And it's actually something that I have come to really appreciate in the last decade is this beautiful energy of this time of year. And one of the movies I now love to watch during this time of year is Coco, because it's such a beautiful film about the thinning of the veil and understanding our ancestors and how they affect us and how they are still with us in this lifetime, even as we walk with flesh and blood beings in our human bodies. So this time of year, this veil between worlds softens, and it's this portal, right? It's a transition between the afterlife and the now, and beginnings and endings. And it's an opening into a place where we thought it was an ending. And we get to realize, we get to celebrate that, in fact, death is not an ending. It's a change in energetic state. And we get to open the door a little bit and look into that portal between the afterlife and our living life and appreciate what our ancestors have done for us and the lives that they led in order for us to be here. And I love to look at midlife as this same sort of metaphorical equivalent of this thinning of the veil, because midlife is also a portal between who we've been and who we are now becoming. It's this beautiful, I'm just seeing like this gilded gold door that is this gorgeous portal that we step through. And the journey in walking through that golden portal of midlife is a long journey, right? I mean, it's roughly a decade that starts with our Uranus opposition and continues into our mid-50s. So I want to talk about this rite of passage in midlife and how it is being reflected for us during this time of year. So by the time we hit midlife, we have spent decades building our identities. We have become mothers, many of us. We have become partners, many of us. We have built our professional careers. We have been caregivers. We have been lovers. We have been friends. And midlife is our cougar puberty, right? It's our second time in life when shit gets cracked wide open, and this illusion that we are those things. We are just a mother. We are a partner. We are a caregiver. That those things are who we are. And midlife is this time when we realize, well, shit, actually, I am far, far greater than those labels. And it invites us into this deeper, deeper truth. So if you are feeling untethered, if you're feeling unmoored, if you're feeling restless, if you're feeling anxious, like something feels like it's ending, or you're standing on this edge of the cliff, but you don't know what's next, I want to invite you to understand that that discomfort is sacred. It's the space between worlds. It's the moment before your rebirth. And it's sort of like being in the womb again. I wish I could go back and tell myself, who was writing those journals, it's okay to sit in this discomfort. It's really okay to be there and to just sit in that discomfort, because in that discomfort, there's composting happening. It's the best way I can think of to describe it. It's like you feel uncomfortable because the first bits of you that no longer feel like a fit are starting to shed. They're starting to fall away. Your skin that is shedding, that is coming off like the skin of a snake, it's starting to separate. The new cells are starting to grow beneath the old. And because they're growing, they're starting to push out the old. And yes, that is uncomfortable. It feels weird. It feels like, what is happening? And that's okay. That is so sacred and so necessary to this next part. So I mentioned earlier, and I just want to talk a little bit about some of the transits to give you some context for this time of life and also this particular time of the year. So you've got your Uranus opposition, right? That happens around the age of 40-ish, your classic like midlife crisis, quote unquote, where Uranus is all about liberation. It's about disruption. It's about embracing your weird and being your authentic self. And it is opposing your natal Uranus. So it's the universe saying, hello, wake up. Are you actually being who you came here to be? And that's why so many people experience that kind of weirdness, whatever midlife thing happens around that age. Right now, we have Pluto that has moved into Aquarius. And Pluto does not change signs very often. Pluto is a planet of transformation. It's a planet of death and rebirth. It's a planet of power. It is a planet that helps you to reclaim your power and your truth. And it has moved into Aquarius, where it's hanging out right now. I want you to look up your chart again. If you don't have your astrology chart or you don't have it memorized, look on my website, www.lorilisai.com. Go to get your chart and run your astrology chart. And then find Aquarius, which is, the glyph is like the little waves, 2 lines of little waves. It is the water bearer. And look at what house it is in. I think I have my chart set to Placidus right now, but I want you to look at what house it encompasses, what house it is identifying with. And I'm going to review those really quickly for you here, the house themes, because those are going to speak to what is up for transformation for you during this Pluto transit. So if it's in your first house, this is your whole vibe, your body, your appearance, your charisma, who you are. If it's in your second house, it's going to transform money, income, values, your worthiness. If it's in your third house, it's going to transform learning or teaching, writing, communication, bringing power to those things. If it's in your fourth house, it's transformation around home, around family, around your roots, your ancestry. So if you have a Pluto transit happening in your fourth house right now, please do some of these things that I'm offering you this week and use this time truly to tap into talking with your ancestors. If it's in your fifth house, transformation around pleasure, around art, around children, around sex, around dating. If it's in your sixth house, that's about wellness and health, as well as daily routines, rituals, kind of the hard work that we do, the service that we do. Seventh house talks to relationships, partnerships, as well as legal matters. Eighth house speaks to your psyche, taxes, loans, other people's resources, and also this is a house of rebirth. If it's in your ninth house, this is all about higher learning, truth-seeking, publishing, philosophy, and adventure, getting out there, traveling long distances. 10th house is career, public image, reputation, visibility, what you are doing in this lifetime for your career. 11th house is around community, around friends, networking, your social awareness. And then your 12th house is around healing, spirituality, karma, the subconscious, the unseen, kind of the hidden parts of your chart. So where is Aquarius in your chart and how can it speak to some of those themes? And how can you then use that in this midlife time? And then the last point I wanted to make about transits right now is we've had a lot of things going on in Scorpio. The planets that will be in Scorpio are the sun, because it is Scorpio season. So it is shining the light on Scorpio themes, and Mars, which is all about action. It's all about like, get your fight on. It's about how we fight and how we fuck. So Scorpio themes are transformation, similar to Pluto, intensity, passion, uncovering secrets, emotional depth. It's a fixed water sign. So there's definitely emotional depth to Scorpio. And also it's fixed, it's stubborn, it's like immovable energy. So thinking about those Scorpio transits and how those play out in your chart as well. So these transits, I think, invite us to shed the old versions of ourselves that no longer fit. They're just opportunities. It's like working with the planetary transits instead of against them. And when we do that, we honor what we're leaving behind. We honor being at that place on that precipice, ready to jump in that discomfort. And we allow ourselves to jump, to take the leap, even if we don't know exactly what's next. And when we don't know what's next and we let those old structures fall away, this is where our conditioning screams for control. This is where our ego rises up and tries to protect us. This is where you can self-sabotage. This is where old patterns can come crashing in to gulp you up again and to bring you back to what feels safe, even if what feels safe wasn't actually serving you. So, what if we treated this in between like sacred ground? Like this is a space to listen, to commune with our own intuition, to call in the help of our ancestors, to say, thank you so much for what you have sacrificed, what you have gone through in order for me to be here in this moment. Just like this time of year invites us to honor our lineage, midlife invites us to honor the versions of ourselves who got us here. So I encourage you this week to engage in a simple ritual. Let's think about lighting a candle. Let's think about journaling. Let's think about walking in nature and any of those ritualistic kinds of things that you can do while you are asking yourself what part of you is ready to be released. Then what part of you wants to be born or maybe reborn? A lot of people in midlife have been living somebody else's life for so long, they even forgot what they're interested in. And if this is you, no shame. It happens to so many women because they've just been doing the other thing for so long and they're identifying with those things. So I love to encourage them to think back to when you were a kid. What were you drawn to when you were a kid? You know, you're a Gen Xer, you're an elder millennial. What were you doing when you were running around in the neighborhood? What were you doing when you had time on your own? How can you get back to that? How can you pull the threads that are attached to that little girl inside of you and rekindle what excited her? And if you're standing in this in-between and you're feeling like, oh shit, I don't know. I just don't know. I feel so lost. I don't even know where to start. Then coaching might be a really great next step for you. I'm going to leave the link in the show notes. Reach out if you have questions. You know what to do. I am always here to connect with if you have questions or if you decide that you want to work together. I love using human design and some of these other kind of esoteric tools to just give us a language to talk about what is going on in this time of life. So I love this time of year because I feel like it reminds us that endings are never final. They're thresholds, right? You can always look back to a threshold and understand where you've been in order to move beyond it. And I think that midlife is one of the most powerful thresholds of our entire lives because we actually get to be who we came here to be without all of the other bullshit expectations. So, the next episode is going to be dropping on Friday, which is Halloween, Samhain. And until next time, I am inviting you, of course, to live midlife by your own design. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Midlife by Design and this short little series that I am doing to celebrate Halloween. And if you loved it and you love Halloween and you know someone who also loves Halloween but maybe doesn't look at it through this same lens, then I would be so appreciative if you would share it with them. It helps the podcast grow, helps me help more women in midlife. So thank you so much for being here. And as always, I am sending you strength to let go of what no longer serves you, joy to fill your days, and the clarity to be who you came here to be.